In a quiet desert suburb of Marana, Arizona, what began as an ordinary summer afternoon spiraled into one of the state's most haunting tragedies. A 2-year-old girl, bright-eyed, curious, full of life, was found lifeless inside her father's car under a scorching 109-degree sun. Her father, Christopher Scholtes, would later admit responsibility. But before justice could be delivered, before his sentence could be read, he was dead. Tonight, we dig into the chilling and unresolved story of a father convicted of murdering his child and the unanswered questions that followed his sudden death. July 9, 2024. Temperatures in Marana climbed past 109 degrees Fahrenheit. 2-year-old Parker Scholtes had fallen asleep in her car seat after a morning outing with her father. Instead of carrying her inside, Christopher left her strapped in the vehicle, claiming later that he left the engine running with the air conditioning on. But when investigators reviewed security footage and data from his car, the truth was devastating. The vehicle had been off for nearly 3 hours. Parker was trapped in the back seat, the car's temperature climbing well beyond survivable levels. By the time Christopher's wife returned home, Parker was gone. Her body temperature exceeded 108 degrees Fahrenheit. Christopher told police he'd been distracted, cleaning up, watching videos, playing games. But those distractions soon formed the basis of a second-degree murder charge. Was it negligence, malice, or something even darker? First responders arrived to chaos. Body cam footage shows paramedics performing CPR, while officers question a visibly shaken Christopher. His first words, "So I'm being treated like a murderer?" The investigation uncovered a disturbing history. Court and Department of Child Safety records revealed that Christopher had been investigated 9 times between 2014 and 2020 for alleged neglect. Each case closed as unsubstantiated. 9 chances to intervene. 9 missed opportunities to prevent the unthinkable. Detectives also spoke to Christopher's older children. They said their father had often left in the car, sometimes for hours, while he played games or watched videos. Prosecutors later revealed that during the very hours Parker was dying, Christopher's laptop streamed adult content and logged gaming activity. Despite everything, the case dragged through pre-trial motions for over a year. Shockingly, the court approved a vacation request, allowing Christopher to travel to Hawaii while awaiting trial. Prosecutors objected, calling it a privilege undeserved by a man accused of murder. But the judge signed off. How does someone charged with killing a child get permission to relax in paradise? Parker's death shattered her community. Friends describe her as a joyful light who could make anyone smile. A memorial held exactly 1 year later ran from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., the same hours Parker was trapped inside that car. Her grandmother told reporters, from the moment she was born, she was joyful she didn't deserve this. The tragedy split the family apart. One of Christopher's teenage daughters later filed a civil suit accusing him and Parker's mother of long-term abuse and emotional manipulation. Public outrage grew when prosecutors revealed that teachers, neighbors, and relatives had reported concerns about neglect for years, but nothing was ever done. How many red flags need to fly before someone steps in? By October 2025, Christopher Scholtes finally entered a plea. Guilty to second-degree murder and intentional child abuse likely to cause death or serious injury. He faced up to 30 years in prison. Sentencing was scheduled for the following week, but he would never make it. On November 5, 2025, just days before surrendering to authorities, police found Christopher dead inside a Phoenix home. Cause of death, suicide. The timing and the circumstances sparked a storm of questions. Who found him? Was he alone? How did he obtain the means to take his life while under supervision? And perhaps most haunting of all, was this truly suicide or silencing? Some locals speculated that he couldn't face decades in prison. Others whispered about the years of uninvestigated DCS complaints, that someone might have wanted the case to end quietly. Even stranger, his death meant there would be no final statement in court. Whatever truths he might have revealed died with him. Investigators confirmed his death as self-inflicted, but parts of the file remain sealed. Why? Could that secrecy be protecting someone else involved? Digital forensics showed that during the hours Parker was trapped, Christopher's devices were active. watching explicit videos, gaming, and browsing online. Prosecutors said it proved indifference, yet the defense called a tragic lapse in judgment. But if it was just negligence, why lie about leaving the AC on? Why mislead investigators about timing? Then there's the DCS angle. 9 prior investigations closed, despite repeated warnings. Did the system fail Parker, or was there something deliberate behind those closures? Was it incompetence, bias, or privilege? Another mystery. The court's decision to grant him travel rights. Most homicide defendants face strict restrictions. Yet Scholtes was allowed to leave the state. Who authorized that and why? When we step back, the pattern becomes chilling. Leniency, ignored warnings, and the ultimate escape from justice. A suicide before sentencing. Or was it an escape at all? Could guilt alone explain it? Or did someone, perhaps connected to those prior investigations, have a reason to keep him silent? In death, Christopher Scholtes left behind a fractured family, a grieving community, and a case that feels unfinished. His guilty plea means a record shows responsibility, but his suicide means justice was never served. For Parker's family, that absence is unbearable. For investigators, it's another case that ends without answers. And for the public, it's a reminder of how fragile accountability becomes when privilege and bureaucracy blur the truth. Why were DCS investigations repeatedly closed? Who granted the travel authorization? What sealed evidence remains hidden? Was his death truly suicide or something staged? Each question carves deeper into the unease that this case is far from over. The story of Christopher Scholtes isn't just about a father's horrifying mistake. It's about how systems fail, how oversight collapses, and how sometimes the truth dies before it's spoken. Parker's story deserves more than a headline. It deserves reform, transparency, and the voices of those who still seek justice. Because if 9 investigations can vanish into paperwork, if a man accused of murder can travel freely, and if the truth can die just before it's told, then something in the system is deeply broken. If this case leaves you unsettled, don't let it fade away. Hit like if you believe Parker's story deserves answers. Subscribe for more in-depth true crime investigations. Turn on the bell to get notified when we release updates or new cases. Comment below. Do you think Christopher's death was truly suicide or something more? And if you're new here, check out our playlist of other unresolved child death cases. Stories where justice stopped halfway. Because the truth doesn't rest, even when the guilty do.